Welcome. Let's begin. Today is the 42nd day of Lent, the Tuesday of Holy Week. A quote from Father Thomas A. Judge. The cross is a sign that provokes us to love, to worship, to gratitude, to thanksgiving, to service. The cross is our hope, our joy, our peace, and consolation. Is there a particular person in your life that tries your patience? It may be difficult to believe, but every single person is loved by God. Therefore, try to imagine how God sees this person and identify at least one positive characteristic about him or her. I'm sure that most of us have more than one person that tries our patience in our life. And maybe we're the one who tries the patience of someone else and we don't know it. Maybe they're just too kind to say it, or they're done talking to you about it, and vice versa. This is when you come into a moment like that, it's a moment, this is one of those moments where you have to just stop, take a good deep breath, and think about what you're going to say or how you're going to act before you do it. Because once we say something or do something, we can't take it back. No matter how much we say, oh, I'm sorry I did it, I regret it, I wish I could take it back. You can't. Once it's out there, it's out there. Your action or your words. And there will be trying times throughout our life where someone is going to try our patience. You have to say a prayer for them. You have to say a prayer for yourself when you come to those moments. Jesus had his patience tried quite a bit of times by his disciples, always questioning, always kind of butting heads, either with each other or with him about the way things were going. It's like they were picked to follow Jesus and to learn his ways and to preach the words of God. And yet they were always kind of second guessing that and questioning it. And it's human nature for that, I guess, because if something's happening that you don't understand, you're going to question it. You're going to want to, have a debate about it. But I'm sure that pressed Jesus's patience to the brink. But it's something that he knew that if he just kept a cool head about him and maybe explain it a different way or show them, then that would be resolved and it could move on to the next catastrophe that they had to encounter. So finding patience with someone in your life that gets on your nerves is hard to do. But you have to keep at it, or sometimes just get away from that person, go do something else that doesn't require confrontation about it, and maybe once you've both cooled off, you can come back together and talk about it again. So that is the virtue of the day, patience. Let's look at the book of John, chapter 13, verse 25 through 27. Master, who is it? Jesus answered. It is the one to whom I hand the morsel after I have dipped it. So he dipped the morsel and took it and handed it to Judas, son of Simon the Iscariot. After Judas took the morsel, Satan entered him. Now we're talking about the Last Supper. And this is, the verse starts, Master, who is it? It's a disciple asking Jesus, because Jesus has said, one among you will betray me, and I will be killed for it. So they're like, well, who is it? And that's when Jesus says, whoever I hand this to, that's who it is. Can you imagine the expression or what was going through their minds when they saw this act happening, that Jesus is handing this bread to Judas. Judas was probably astounded that Jesus knew it was him. He knew it was in his heart. And although they have all seen at this point miracles that Jesus has performed, hearing him talk about things that no other human being should know, they've been witnesses to his great miracles in his life thus far. Yet I'm sure they were still very astonished to know that here was Judas fixing to betray God. And they probably were like, oh, come on, it can't be him. He's been kind of held back, and he hasn't maybe said too much, or I just don't see it in his personality to do that. But God knew what was in Judas's heart. Judas knew what was coming. And also Satan knew. Satan saw a weak soul that he could manipulate in Judas. And he took advantage of that. Provide kind words of encouragement to a friend or a loved one who is experiencing a crisis in faith. If you're going through a hard time, you're down on your luck, or maybe you've lost a loved one, you've lost a job, you've lost a spouse, a child, a home. Something is going wrong in your life. It seems like nothing wants to go right. You start questioning, why is this happening to me? Why does God let this happen to me? You need to hear some words of encouragement from someone who cares about you. Maybe you know someone who needs to hear those words from you. Maybe you don't have the words to say. Ask God to help you with those words. Just ask him, Lord, I need to help this person. They're going through a tough time. They need your help as well. And I hope that they ask you for help. I hope that they turn to you in this moment and not lose faith. But they feel like they're pushed to the brink and they don't know where to turn anymore. I need the right words. They need to hear it. They need to see it. Let them feel your love. I myself have gone through many crises of faith. But I always believe in God. Always. I trust him. We are human beings. We have emotions from one end of the spectrum to the other, and it goes all in between and all over the place. We're not steady on one thing all the time. That's not life on this planet anyway. So when you're having a crisis of faith, or you know someone who is, ask for the help and the guidance from the Lord. Call on Mother Mary if this person needs words of encouragement, like from a mother figure, something a mother would say to someone. God can help you say what you need to say. I ask God every day to help me with this channel, because I don't sit down and think beforehand what I'm going to talk about. I like to talk from the heart as I'm in the moment. So as I'm going through these days of Lent, especially, I'll read a passage and we'll talk a little bit about something, and then I like to say what's on my mind, what's in my heart, what I think could reach somebody. So help someone today who may be needing to hear a comforting word. If someone is feeling like Judas, if they feel like they've betrayed someone, then they really need to help. They really need the help to find Jesus again. when we're betrayed by somebody we care about, it's a painful thing. But you've got to search your heart for God. You have to ask God to step in and help. He's always ready, willing, and able to do it. So working on the virtue of patience, forgiveness, that's the focus today. And that's it. You have a blessed day. I'll talk to you on the next one. Goodbye.